Not all Hollywood success stories have a happy ending. Some of the brightest stars who start from humble beginnings and achieve incredible rags-to-riches journeys later find themselves losing their way. Whether due to addiction, mental health struggles, or poor financial choices, certain famous celebrities have shockingly ended up homeless. While a few manage to turn their lives around and make a comeback, others face heartbreaking conclusions. Stick around until the end to discover which celebrities lost everything and ended up living on the streets. Margot Kidder. Margot Kidder, best known for portraying Lois Lane in the Superman films, was a well-known Hollywood figure. Her fame wasn't limited to her acting career. She also had high-profile relationships with figures like comedian Richard Pryor and Canadian Prime Minister Pierre Trudeau. So it was a huge shock when she was discovered wandering the streets, battling schizophrenia and severe depression. At one point, she was found living in cardboard boxes and sleeping in backyards across Los Angeles. Her appearance was strikingly unkempt, with missing front teeth and chopped-off hair. This period of homelessness began following a manic episode in 1996, and she was later located by both her family and the police, living out of a box behind some bushes in Glendale, California. During this time, she often approached strangers asking for cigarettes, and occasionally people would offer her a place to stay at a motel for the night. Eventually, she was admitted to a private psychiatric facility where she began accepting treatment. Later, she became a vocal advocate for mental health awareness and once remarked, "We are all a breath away from mental illness, homelessness, all these things we tend to look down on." Erin Moran. At the age of 14, Erin Moran rose to fame and became a household name. Best remembered for portraying Joni Cunningham on Happy Days, her life took a downturn as she faced financial ruin and homelessness later on. It was revealed that she had recklessly depleted her savings and lost her California residence to foreclosure in 2010. She and her spouse eventually resided with his aging mother in an Indiana trailer. But this arrangement was short-lived. Following a night of drinking, Moran returned home and clashed with her mother-in-law, who subsequently expelled her from the trailer park. This incident pushed her to the brink of divorce, leaving her drifting between motels without stable housing. After her eviction, she was seen appearing disheveled near an inn. Ultimately, Moran's struggles ended tragically when she succumbed to a heroin overdose, still destitute and without a home. Dana Plato. Dana Plato, a former child star known for her role on the sitcom Different Strokes, endured a troubled life after the show ended. Following the series' conclusion, she faced homelessness and ultimately passed away from a drug overdose. Plato began her acting career at just 14, but she was already struggling with substance abuse behind the scenes. After Different Strokes ended, she fell into difficult circumstances and became entangled in various scandals. Battling drug and alcohol addiction, she also faced legal troubles, including forging a prescription in 1992 and robbing a video store the year before. Eventually, she served time in jail and entered rehabilitation programs. In 1999, Plato was discovered living in motels in Oklahoma, homeless once again. Though she insisted she was clean and sober, just weeks later, she was found dead from a drug overdose, which was later ruled a suicide. The day before her death, Plato appeared on The Howard Stern Show, where she openly acknowledged her struggles with alcoholism and addiction. Despite claiming sobriety, many of the callers ridiculed and questioned her, which may have contributed to her tragic end. Lonnie Willis. Lonnie Willis, once celebrated for her modeling achievements, rose to prominence rapidly, but now resides in homelessness on Venice Beach due to various challenges, including drug dependency and mental health struggles. Willis gained recognition as a fitness model, frequently gracing the pages of magazines. Her career reached its zenith when she married Jeremy Jackson, the actor from Baywatch. However, her battles with meth addiction and psychological issues led her to a life on the streets. She has publicly attributed her current plight to her tumultuous relationship with Jackson, recounting incidents of severe domestic violence, including an alleged attempt by Jackson to strangle her. Additionally, she asserts that living indoors is impossible for her because of an aversion to electricity. "I had been electrocuted daily for nearly a year," she explained. I believe that since I sense electricity, I also react to other substances like certain chemicals, batteries, fuses, wires, or different metals, so I think my body processes those elements. Whether this claim holds truth or serves as a justification for the meth addiction that drove her into decline remains uncertain. MC Hammer. MC Hammer, once a dominant force in hip-hop, went from winning 3 Grammy Awards to experiencing homelessness. In the 90s, he was everywhere, with his infectious songs, signature parachute pants, iconic dance moves like the typewriter, and his famous catchphrase, "Hammer Time." His popularity even extended to a cartoon series, Hammerman. As his career soared, so did his spending. He owned a massive 40,000 square foot mansion, which he spent $30 million renovating, along with 17 cars, 2 helicopters, a jet, and racehorses. However, as musical tastes shifted and his popularity waned, he struggled financially. Despite his financial troubles, he continued to maintain his extravagant lifestyle, keeping his mansion and employing over 200 people. Ultimately, the mounting costs led to his downfall. He was forced to sell off his property and found himself $13 million in debt, with over $800,000 owed in taxes. Despite these setbacks, MC Hammer managed to turn his life around, moving to a more modest home, organizing concerts and focusing on saving and investing wisely. Jan Michael Vincent. Once Hollywood's beloved heartthrob, Jan Michael Vincent fell into homelessness as a result of his addiction, violent tendencies, and sheer misfortune. He gained fame for his role in the hit TV series Airwolf, with his chiseled physique and classic American charm keeping him in the spotlight for a time. However, his struggles with alcoholism and drug abuse soon overshadowed his career, persisting throughout his life. Between 1977 and 1979, he faced multiple arrests for cocaine possession. Further run-ins with the law occurred in 1984 and 1985 due to bar fights, along with charges for felony assault, drunk driving, and physical altercations. Repeated car accidents, often caused by his habit of driving under the influence, left him with numerous broken bones. Ultimately, his right leg was amputated, forcing him to rely on a prosthetic limb or a wheelchair. His battles with substance abuse and deteriorating health culminated in homelessness. In his later years, Vincent lived a secluded life in rural areas of Mississippi and North Carolina before passing away at the age of 74. You won't believe how this once famous celebrity ended up homeless. Comment one now and watch till the end to learn about her shocking downfall. Leif Garrett. Leif Garrett, once a beloved teen idol, fell into a downward spiral involving heavy drug use and ultimately homelessness. He began using drugs at the age of 14, and just before turning 18, he crashed his mother's Porsche while attempting to buy cocaine. He was found with a blood alcohol level 3 times the legal limit, and the accident left his friend a paraplegic. This was just one of many incidents tied to his battles with drugs and alcohol. In 2001, Garrett declared personal bankruptcy, with little more than his clothes, household items, and $350 in cash to his name. His only financial support came from his mother, who gave him $1,000 a month, and he had no permanent place to live. The former teen star had spent time in jail multiple times due to his drug use, and had also been in and out of rehab centers. His plight as a homeless former celebrity was publicly revealed when Sharon Osbourne remarked, "Leif Garrett is living under a bridge, and he's saving a place for you, Justin Bieber." Mindy McCready. Mindy McCready, a well-known country music star, saw her life spiral out of control. Once celebrated, she eventually lost everything and tragically took her own life at the age of 37. The singer, a mother of 2, had been sent to a court-ordered rehab facility due to her struggles with addiction. Her boyfriend was discovered dead from a gunshot wound to the head, and just a month later, she died in the same location, also from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. It appears that the tipping point for her was learning that her children would be placed in the care of her estranged mother. Authorities were met with a horrifying scene, as she had shot her dog before ending her life. Throughout her life, McCready battled addiction, mental health challenges, and inner turmoil, which ultimately shattered her family and contributed to her tragic demise. David Cassidy. David Cassidy, once a beloved teen idol, spiraled into addiction and homelessness in a surprising twist of fate. His personal life was marked by multiple marriages, children from different relationships, and ongoing struggles with substance abuse. His troubles gained public attention when he was arrested for a DUI in 2010. By 2013 and 2014, Cassidy was arrested again for drunk driving, further highlighting his battles with alcohol and drugs. He openly admitted to being an alcoholic. The star of the Partridge Family faced significant challenges and, by the end of the show's run, was living in homelessness. Over the years, his life continued to spiral, with arrests for purchasing narcotics and soliciting prostitutes, reflecting the chaotic nature of his personal and professional life. Sugar Ray Williams. The decline of public figures isn't confined to actors, musicians, or athletes alone. Take Sugar Ray Williams, for instance, a former NBA legend who was discovered sleeping in his Buick back in 2010. Williams had spent over a decade as the captain of the New York Knicks and was part of the Boston Celtics team that reached the 1985 NBA Finals. By 2010, reports surfaced of him living out of his car in Pompano Beach, Florida. In interviews, he criticized the NBA for neglecting retired players, stating that he was among many former stars in need of support. "They always emphasized loyalty to the team when I played," he remarked. "But where's the loyalty and compassion for ex-players who are struggling? We paved the way for these guys earning sky-high salaries." After retiring, Williams faced bankruptcy and struggled to maintain any jobs outside of basketball. Unlike cases involving addiction to alcohol, drugs, or gambling, his hardships seemed rooted in sheer misfortune. Ultimately, he succumbed to colon cancer in 2013. Bobby Driscoll. Bobby Driscoll, a former child star who won an Academy Award for his role in The Window in 1950, once enjoyed the spotlight. However, his life took a tragic turn as he became addicted to drugs and was later imprisoned for drug-related offenses. After his release, he continued to struggle with addiction and financial difficulties. Although he appeared in a few projects, none were significant, and he faded from the public eye. Driscoll ultimately died penniless and homeless from a drug overdose, with his body left unclaimed. In a past interview, the former Disney star reflected on his downfall, saying, "I became a beatnik and a bum. I had no residence. My clothes were at my parents' house, but I didn't live anywhere. My personality had suffered during my marriage, and I was trying to recoup it." In 1968, 2 children discovered Driscoll's body in an abandoned building in Manhattan's East Village, where he was believed to have been living. He was buried in an unmarked grave on Hart Island in New York City, and it wasn't until 1971 that reporters uncovered the truth about his death. Iran Barkley. Iran the Blade Barkley, celebrated for his triumphant boxing career, once boasted a fortune of $5 million, but swiftly descended into homelessness. In 2010, the New York Post revealed that the former champion had been spending his nights in subway cars and at the Howard Johnson Express. During the 80s and 90s, Barkley amassed approximately $5 million through his boxing endeavors. However, reckless expenditures and inadequate financial planning caused him to squander every penny. This mismanagement plunged him into financial devastation, leaving him jobless and destitute. He resorted to living in motels and on the streets, eventually moving into the Patterson Houses, a public housing complex in the Bronx under the care of his niece. When she could no longer accommodate him, he found himself sleeping in subway cars and later at Howard Johnson. Thankfully, assistance came from the Bronx nonprofit Bronx Works and the Ring 10 boxing charity. With their help, Barkley secured housing and regained stability, dedicating himself to teaching boxing skills to aspiring young amateurs. Natasha Lyonne. Natasha Lyonne was a prominent Hollywood figure in the 90s, starring in films like But I'm a Cheerleader, Slums of Beverly Hills, and American Pie. However, her career faced a major setback following several legal issues. Struggling with addiction and eventually becoming homeless, she was kicked out of her apartment in Gramercy Park. In 2001, Lyonne was arrested for a DUI, and by 2005, she was admitted to Beth Israel Hospital, where she received treatment for a range of health issues, including methadone addiction, a heart infection, hepatitis C, and a collapsed lung. Despite these challenges, Lyonne managed to turn her life around. She later starred in the acclaimed Netflix series Orange is the New Black and created Russian Doll, a show inspired by her personal experiences. She also appeared in Poker Face, a detective procedural series. Dani Bonaduce. Dani Bonaduce, a former child star, battled alcohol and drug dependencies from an early age, which ultimately led to homelessness in adulthood. His role in The Partridge Family brought him widespread fame, but over time he cycled in and out of rehab, struggling to maintain sobriety. These challenges, alongside his battles with substance abuse and alcoholism, left him without a stable home. Adding to his difficulties, Bonaduce was diagnosed with hydrocephalus, a serious health condition. During this period, he resided in his car, parked behind Grauman's Chinese Theatre in Hollywood. Despite his circumstances, he continued to interact with fans, often greeting autograph seekers from his vehicle. In interviews, Bonaduce reflected on the surreal experience of being both homeless and famous, stating, "I was still famous, and people had no clue I lived behind the dumpster. I'd be posing for pictures and signing autographs." Eventually, he turned his life around, becoming a drive-time DJ on Wisp and remarrying. However, due to his medical condition and brain surgery, he ultimately retired from his radio career in Seattle. Does Dani Bonaduce's journey highlight the importance of mental health and addiction support for child stars and public figures? Comment yes if you agree, no if you think it's a different issue. Houston McTeer. Houston McTeer, once celebrated as the world's fastest human, faced a dramatic fall from grace after an impressive athletic career. In high school, he tied the world record for the 100-yard dash, running it in 9.0 seconds. His speed helped him escape poverty in Florida and move to Los Angeles, where he trained in boxing under Muhammad Ali and Harold Smith. In 1978, he graced the cover of Sports Illustrated and qualified for the U.S. Olympic team in 1980. However, the U.S. boycott of the Olympics that year prevented him from competing. Afterward, McTeer struggled with drug addiction, leading to homelessness during the 1980s. He spent up to 3 years living on the beaches of Santa Monica, particularly during a period when his financial support vanished after his club collapsed. During this time, he often found food at the Clare Foundation, a mission for the homeless. McTeer's life turned around when an older woman helped him, and he eventually rebuilt his life. He later married Linda Haglund, a former Swedish sprinter. Brett Butler. Brett Butler, a Golden Globe-nominated actress, once enjoyed immense success, but later grappled with drug addiction, leading to her stay in a homeless shelter. She gained widespread recognition for her role in the ABC sitcom Grace Under Fire. During the show's run, she faced persistent battles with substance abuse, spending considerable time in rehab. Although her struggles began with addiction, she eventually achieved sobriety. Afterwards, she left Los Angeles and settled on a farm in Georgia, where she lived with 15 pets. However, her finances eventually dwindled, leaving her residing in a homeless shelter for an extended period. It was later disclosed that she has been striving to revive her career. She aims to create a reality TV show centered on her claimed psychic abilities while performing at a downtown Los Angeles comedy club. Willie Aames. Willie Aames, famous for his roles in 8 is Enough and Charles in Charge, experienced a dramatic downfall after a financial collapse. Once earning over $1 million a year, he lost his career, his family, and his fortune. This led to a period of homelessness where he lived in parking garages, under bushes, and in parks. Aames struggled to find work, including a failed attempt at being a wilderness guide. Reflecting on his fall from the peak of success, he said, "At the very peak of 8 is Enough, I was making a little over $1 million a year. Then suddenly there was no job, no bank account, no wife, no child. I never dreamt it could happen that fast. I found myself virtually homeless. I stayed with friends when I could, slept in parking garages or slept in the park. It was shameful. I remember laying underneath the bushes thinking, is this how it turns out? Is this how my life really turns out?" After hitting rock bottom, Aames turned his life around. He became a financial advisor after passing the necessary exams and training, and eventually returned to acting and filmmaking. He now splits his time between Vancouver and Los Angeles. Rocky Lockridge. Rocky Lockridge, a former boxing champion, rose to significant fame as a junior lightweight title holder. However, shortly after his career ended in 1992, he faced severe struggles with addiction and homelessness. Following his time in the ring, Lockridge became addicted to crack, which cost him his wife, children, and all his earnings. By 1997, he was handed a 27-month prison sentence for burglary. After serving his time, he found himself homeless, spending nearly a decade on the streets of New Jersey. While living on the streets, he suffered a stroke, leaving his body tilting to one side. Despite his past wealth and education, his post-retirement life was marked by hardship due to drug and alcohol abuse, as well as the physical toll from years of boxing. Beyond the injuries sustained in the ring, his weekends were filled with parties where he heavily consumed alcohol and cocaine. His reckless spending further contributed to his eventual loss of everything. Marvin Gaye. Marvin Gaye, a legendary soul singer, captivated the world with his profound music, known for hits like What's Going On, Sexual Healing, and Let's Get It On. As a pioneer who shaped Motown's sound and influenced music across genres, Gaye's voice resonated deeply with listeners. However, beneath his musical brilliance, he faced significant personal struggles, including addiction, financial issues, and complex family dynamics. His turbulent personal life was overshadowed by substance abuse and difficult relationships, especially with his father. Despite these challenges, his music's powerful emotional depth made him a prominent voice for social change and introspection. Tragically, on April 1, 1984, just a day before his 45th birthday, Gaye was fatally shot by his father during a heated dispute. His death at such a young age stunned the world, but his enduring legacy as a soul icon continues to inspire artists and fans alike. Amanda Peterson. Amanda Peterson gained fame in the 1980s for her role as Cindy Mancini in the romantic comedy Can't Buy Me Love, starring alongside Patrick Dempsey. Her portrayal of the popular cheerleader made her a beloved teen idol, earning her widespread recognition and admiration. However, behind her on-screen success, Peterson struggled with substance abuse and mental health issues. As her career slowed, she distanced herself from the entertainment world, facing personal challenges that overshadowed her earlier achievements. Tragically, on July 3, 2015, just days before her 44th birthday, Peterson passed away from an accidental drug overdose, leaving fans and colleagues mourning the loss of her talent and unfulfilled potential. Lisa Robin Kelly. Once a rising star on the hit TV show That 70s Show, Lisa Robin Kelly's future seemed bound for greatness. Known for her role as Laurie Foreman, the rebellious older sister, she captivated audiences with her sharp wit and undeniable presence. By the late 90s, she was a household name, even earning critical praise for her portrayal. However, behind the scenes, Kelly's life began to unravel. Struggles with substance abuse, a tumultuous relationship, and multiple stints in rehab plagued her career. Legal battles and personal crises drained her finances, leaving her with little support as she fell from the public eye. At 43, Kelly's life tragically ended in 2013 in a California rehab facility. She had spent her final months in and out of treatment, battling addiction and depression. Her story remains a painful reminder of the fragile line between fame and obscurity, and the challenges of overcoming personal demons. Like this video? Subscribe for more. Hate it? Well, a like would be nice anyway, and let me know what went wrong in the comments. Wesley Snipes. Once one of Hollywood's highest-paid actors, Wesley Snipes was a towering figure in action films like Blade and Demolition Man, earning fame for his charisma and martial arts prowess. He won praise for his versatility, transitioning from tough guys to dramatic roles with ease, making him a box office favorite in the 90s and early 2000s. However, Snipes' rise to fame was followed by a series of legal and financial missteps. In 2008, he was convicted of tax evasion, accused of failing to file tax returns for several years. The conviction led to a 3-year prison sentence, which effectively halted his career. In the years since his release, Snipes has made efforts to reclaim his career, appearing in smaller roles and continuing his passion for film. Now in his early 60s, Snipes' story is a sobering reminder of how even the brightest stars can falter under the weight of financial mismanagement and legal struggles. Randy Quaid. Once celebrated for his quirky charm and memorable roles in films like National Lampoon's Vacation and Independence Day, Randy Quaid's career seemed destined for continued success. His offbeat humor and standout performances earned him a solid place in Hollywood's elite. However, behind the scenes, his life began to spiral out of control. In the mid-2000s, Quaid's personal issues, coupled with erratic behavior, led to a public unraveling. He faced multiple arrests, including a notorious incident involving vandalism and burglary charges, and his battles with the law only deepened. Financial instability, along with claims of being targeted by Hollywood elites, compounded his troubles. By the 2010s, Quaid and his wife sought asylum in Canada, claiming they were victims of star whackers in Hollywood. Today, Quaid lives in relative obscurity, with his once promising career in shambles. His story reflects the complexities of fame and the overwhelming pressures that can drive even the most celebrated stars into the shadows. Drew Barrymore. Drew Barrymore's name once carried the weight of Hollywood's elite, a member of the storied Barrymore acting dynasty. Known for his striking looks and smooth performances, he was poised for stardom in the 1950s. His roles in films like The Sundowners and High School Confidential showcased his talent, earning him recognition as a rising star. However, Barrymore's personal life proved more turbulent than his professional one. Struggling with alcoholism, volatile relationships, and a series of failed marriages, he found himself entangled in legal and financial troubles. By the 1960s, his career faltered as his personal demons overshadowed his talent. In his later years, Barrymore lived in obscurity, disconnected from the glitz of Hollywood. By the time of his death in 2004, he had become a shadow of the once promising actor. His tragic decline highlights the destructive nature of addiction and the fleeting nature of fame, even for those born into it. Corey Haim. Corey Haim was a beloved teen idol in the 80s, with films like The Lost Boys and License to Drive cementing his place in pop culture. Known for his boyish charm and infectious energy, he was one half of the Corey duo alongside Corey Feldman, a partnership that captured the hearts of a generation. But behind the flashing cameras, Haim's life took a darker turn. Struggling with substance abuse from a young age, his career quickly deteriorated as addiction and mental health issues consumed him. A string of failed projects and public battles with addiction marked his decline, overshadowing the promise he once held. By the time of his tragic death in 2010, at the age of 38, Haim had lived in relative obscurity, struggling to regain his career and peace of mind. His story is a heartbreaking reminder of the perils of fame and the tragic toll it can take on young stars. Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey's rise to fame was meteoric, with his unique brand of slapstick humor and boundless energy making him a comedy giant in the 90s. From Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, to The Truman Show, he quickly became one of the highest-paid actors in Hollywood, beloved for his over-the-top performances and ability to bring even the most absurd characters to life. However, beneath the bright lights, Carrey battled profound personal struggles. His jovial on-screen persona hid a deeply melancholic side, marked by periods of depression and self-doubt. While he continued to deliver box office hits, his mental health challenges grew more public. In the late 2000s, Carrey openly discussed his struggles with depression, even revealing that he had contemplated suicide in the past. Today, while Carrey still pursues acting and art, he has taken a step back from the limelight, embracing a more introspective life. His journey reflects the complexities of fame, where personal battles often remain hidden behind public triumphs. Gary Coleman. Gary Coleman was once the face of a beloved TV star, captivating audiences as the wise beyond his years Arnold Jackson on Different Strokes. His catchphrase, "What you talking about, Willis?" became iconic, and by the late 70s, Coleman was a household name, earning millions as one of TV's highest-paid child actors. However, his rise to fame came with a harsh reality. By adulthood, Coleman faced physical health issues, including kidney disease, which resulted in stunted growth. The financial mismanagement of his earnings left him with little to show for his earlier success. And after a series of legal battles, his money was nearly gone. Personal struggles, including a highly publicized divorce and ongoing health complications, further compounded his difficulties. In his later years, Coleman lived in relative obscurity, making occasional appearances on reality TV. His death in 2010 at age 42 marked the end of a tragic tale, one where fame could not protect him from the hardships of life. What happens when Hollywood's most iconic faces become almost unrecognizable? From The Shining's Shelley Duvall to Top Gun's Val Kilmer and Dirty Dancing's Jennifer Grey, this video dives into the jaw-dropping transformations of once familiar stars. Some vanished by choice, others by tragedy, and a few, like Axl Rose and Renee Zellweger, sparked media frenzies just by showing up. Can you guess who's who now? Stick around. You might be shocked at how much time and fame can change a face. Who surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments. Shelley Duvall. Once celebrated for her unforgettable performances in Popeye and The Shining, Shelley Duvall became one of the most haunting and unique screen presences of the late 20th century. But the woman who once starred opposite Jack Nicholson has quietly vanished from the limelight, and her transformation has left fans both heartbroken and intrigued. Now 75 years old as of April 2025, Duvall looks vastly different. But it's not just the passage of time that's changed her. After stepping away from Hollywood in 2002, she retreated to a quiet, secluded life in rural Texas where she's lived far removed from the fame she once knew. Her disappearance from the public eye only deepened the mystery until 2016, when she resurfaced in a shocking appearance on Dr. Phil. There she openly acknowledged her struggles, saying, "I'm very sick, I need help." The moment stirred national attention, and many criticized the show for exploiting her vulnerable state. But it also reopened a conversation about mental health in Hollywood. In a rare 2021 interview, Duvall reflected on the emotional toll of her career, revealing that filming The Shining left her in tears for days. Once the whimsical muse of director Robert Altman, today she's become a quiet figure, far from the sets and spotlights that once defined her. Bridget Fonda. Bridget Fonda was once a staple of 90s cinema, captivating audiences with standout performances in Single White Female, Point of No Return, Jackie Brown, and The Godfather Part 3. Acting was practically in her DNA. She made her debut at just 5 years old in Easy Rider, appearing alongside her legendary father, Peter Fonda. With several Golden Globe and Emmy nominations under her belt, Bridget seemed poised for a lifelong career on screen. But in a twist that few saw coming, Fonda quietly stepped away from Hollywood in the early 2000s. The reason? A shift in priorities. In 2003, she married acclaimed composer Danny Elfman and 2 years later welcomed their son Oliver. From that point on, the actress who once lit up the red carpet vanished from public view, choosing a life far away from cameras and celebrity spotlights. Now 61 as of 2025, Bridget has embraced a quiet, deeply private life. Her rare public appearances in 2022, first running errands with Elfman, then casually shopping at a landscaping supply store, sparked a media frenzy. Not just because she was seen, but because she looked nearly unrecognizable. But perhaps that's the point. Bridget Fonda didn't just leave acting behind. She left fame itself. Bridget Fonda chose a quiet life far from the spotlight. Would you do the same? And by the way, what country are you watching from? Drop it in the comments. We're curious where our viewers are tuning in from. Priscilla Presley. Once the picture of classic Hollywood beauty, Priscilla Presley turned heads as Elvis's young wife and later captivated television audiences as Jenna Wade on Dallas. But fast forward to today, and her appearance has changed so dramatically that many people do a double take just to recognize her. The shift hasn't just been due to age. It's a complex story of trust, deception, and a battle to reclaim what was lost. In 2003, Priscilla became the unsuspecting victim of a cosmetic nightmare. She placed her faith in Daniel Serrano, a man posing as a top-tier surgeon to the stars. In truth, he was merely a nurse with no surgical credentials. Instead of using FDA-approved fillers, Serrano injected her face with industrial-grade silicone, the same type used in car repairs. The results were as dangerous as they were disfiguring. He was later convicted, served prison time and deported, but the consequences for Priscilla were lasting. Since then, she's undergone numerous corrective procedures to reverse the damage. Most visibly, her prominent cheek implants and years of Botox have left her facial muscles stiff, making it hard for her to smile naturally. Lip collagen, facelifts, and other enhancements have further altered her once soft features. Now at 79, Priscilla Presley's story is no longer just about glamour and fame. It's a sobering tale of what happens when beauty falls into the wrong hands. Jennifer Grey. Mickey Rourke. In his early years, Mickey Rourke carved out a unique image in Hollywood, not with flashy smiles or polished charm, but with a brooding presence and a mysterious, closed-mouth smirk. He didn't smile openly on screen, not because of the roles he played, but because childhood injuries had left him with missing teeth. That subtle insecurity only added to his dangerous bad boy appeal. Rourke's career has always moved like a pendulum, rising with acclaim in films like 9½ Weeks and Angel Heart, then falling into obscurity only to surge back again. And just like his career, his appearance has gone through dramatic changes. When he took up professional boxing in the early 90s, it was more than just a hobby. It was a brutal sport that altered his face and battered his body. Over the years, he turned to cosmetic surgeries to try to repair the damage, but the results were startling. His features swelled, shifted, tightened, and stretched to unnatural extremes. Multiple face and eyelid lifts, possible implants, hair transplants, and suspected Botox have left his once expressive face nearly frozen. Though Rourke has rarely confirmed the full extent of what he's undergone, his current appearance tells a story louder than words. Now in his early 70s, he remains a Hollywood enigma, one who chased beauty, fought for redemption, and paid a visible price for both. Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer once lit up the screen as a magnetic action star, known for iconic roles like Iceman in Top Gun and the brooding caped crusader in Batman Forever. But by the early 2000s, his name began making headlines for a very different reason: his shifting appearance. His fluctuating weight sparked gossip, but it was the sudden and dramatic weight loss in 2014 that really got people talking. Speculation ran wild, forcing Kilmer to break his silence. In a Facebook post that December, he claimed he'd slimmed down for a passion project, playing Mark Twain in a film he was developing. He assured fans he was in good health, but the reassurance didn't last long. Just a month later, Kilmer was rushed to the hospital, and soon after, rumors swirled that he was battling throat cancer. The rumors turned out to be true. The treatments that followed, radiation, surgery, and a tracheotomy, took a severe toll, leaving his voice nearly unrecognizable and his physical appearance changed. He now speaks with the help of AI-assisted voice technology. Despite the setback, in 2021, Kilmer made a powerful return to the screen in Top Gun: Maverick, reuniting with Tom Cruise in a deeply emotional scene that touched hearts worldwide. Sadly, on April 1, 2025, Val Kilmer passed away at age 65 from complications of pneumonia in Los Angeles. Though silenced too soon, his legacy lives on in the roles he played, the courage he showed, and the countless lives he inspired. Jennifer Grey became an overnight star with her unforgettable role as Baby in Dirty Dancing, but fame came with an unexpected cost. Instead of riding the wave of success, she was met with industry pressure, especially from her own circle. Her mother and even plastic surgeons pushed her toward a nose job, telling her it would open more doors in Hollywood. Wanting to secure her future, Grey agreed, but the results were anything but what she'd hoped. In fact, she underwent not one but 2 nose surgeries meant to refine her appearance. The procedures drastically altered her look, so much so that fans barely recognized her anymore. Practically overnight, she became unrecognizable, and casting directors weren't sure what to do with her. The very surgery meant to elevate her career had instead sidelined it. Forced to pivot, Grey leaned into smaller roles, voice acting gigs, and eventually some self-aware comedy. Around 2000, she landed a role in the sitcom It's Like, You Know, playing a satirical version of herself who openly mocked her own transformation. It was a clever way to reclaim her story. Then in 2010, she made a triumphant comeback by winning Dancing with the Stars at age 50, proving that while her face had changed, her talent and grit were as undeniable as ever. Now 65 in 2025, Jennifer Grey continues to embrace her journey, one that defied expectations, even her own. Yet, Nick Nolte. Nick Nolte was once the epitome of rugged Hollywood masculinity, a powerhouse actor with a gravelly voice, piercing eyes, and a raw intensity that made every role unforgettable. In the 80s and 90s, he was unstoppable with standout performances that earned him critical acclaim, including an Oscar nomination for The Prince of Tides in 1991. Just a year later, People magazine cemented his heartthrob status by naming him the sexiest man alive in 1992. But as the years went on, the silver screen saw less and less of Nolte. Behind the scenes, his life was spiraling. In 2002, a mugshot of the actor, wild-haired and dazed, made headlines after his arrest for reckless driving. It was a turning point. Nolte soon checked himself into a psychiatric facility to confront his struggles with addiction and mental health. It was a moment of reckoning that marked the start of a long road to recovery. In his memoir, Nolte pulled back the curtain on his journey, revealing that acting wasn't even his first dream. He had once aspired to be a football star. But after discovering community theatre, his true passion emerged. Now in his 80s, as of 2025, Nolte is far removed from the leading man image that defined his past. His weathered appearance reflects a life lived hard, but also a man who's battled his demons and come out on the other side quietly dignified and still fiercely himself. In control. Kelly McGillis. When Top Gun hit theaters in 1986, Kelly McGillis soared into pop culture history. As Charlie, the confident, sharp civilian instructor who captured Tom Cruise's Maverick, she became an icon of 80s cinema almost overnight. At just 29, she embodied a rare blend of intelligence, strength, and sex appeal that left a lasting impression on moviegoers everywhere. But time, as it does for all of us, has brought changes. Now in her mid-60s, McGillis looks markedly different from the Hollywood starlet fans remember. She's gained weight. Her face shows the natural lines of age, and she's never tried to hide it. In fact, she's embraced it. McGillis has openly said she feels at peace with how she looks and lives her life by her own standards, not Hollywood's. "I'm old and I'm fat, and I look age-appropriate," she once remarked with refreshing honesty. Still, the industry hasn't been as accepting. Despite her talent and legacy, she was noticeably absent from Top Gun Maverick, the blockbuster sequel released decades later. Many believe her appearance and her refusal to conform to Hollywood's rigid beauty ideals is the reason she was left out. But for McGillis, the spotlight was never the goal. These days, she values authenticity over fame, and that quiet defiance might be her boldest role in Bateman. Once the stylish older sister on Family Ties and a teen crush for millions in the 1980s, Justine Bateman was a household name. But if you passed her on the street today, you might not even realize who she is. Bateman, now in her late 50s, looks nothing like the fresh-faced star who once ruled primetime TV, and that's entirely by her own choice. While many Hollywood stars chase eternal youth with Botox and fillers, Bateman has gone in the opposite direction. She's rejected all cosmetic procedures and embraced aging head-on, grey hair, wrinkles and all. It's a decision that's made her nearly unrecognizable to fans who haven't seen her in years. Her appearance recently sparked headlines and social media debates, with many shocked by how different she looks. But Bateman isn't interested in pleasing the public. In a powerful interview on 60 Minutes Australia, she defended her natural look, saying her face represents who she is today, period. In a town obsessed with youth, Justine Bateman's transformation may be one of the most unexpected of all, not because of surgery, but because she walked away from it entirely. Justine Bateman boldly embraced aging without any cosmetic procedures, a rare choice in Hollywood. Do you respect her decision to stay natural? Comment yes if you admire her honesty, or no if you think she should have taken a different path. Let us know what you think. Axl Rose. Axl Rose once defined the sound and the look of rock rebellion in the late 80s and early 90s. As the explosive frontman of Guns N' Roses, his high-octane vocals and wild stage presence turned him into a global icon. But the Axl of today is a far cry from the lean, snarling figure who once belted out "Welcome to the Jungle" in leather and bandanas. Over the years, Rose has gone through a string of dramatic transformations. From his infamous cornrow phase in the early 2000s to noticeable weight fluctuations, his appearance has kept fans guessing and critics talking. By the time he re-emerged on stage in the 2010s, many were shocked. Tired eyes, a bloated face, and an almost unrecognizable jawline fueled rumors of plastic surgery, Botox, and fillers. Though he's never publicly addressed the speculation, the evidence seems to speak louder than words. Still, through all the physical changes, one thing hasn't faded: his voice. Even now, in 2025, at 63, Axl Rose still commands attention with that legendary vocal range. It may not hit the same piercing heights as it once did, but when he steps up to the mic, there's no mistaking that sound. He may not look like the rock god of decades past, but the fire behind the voice remains unmistakably Axl. That fans barely recognized. Shirtless, blonde, tattooed, and confident. Since then, he's continued to evolve, both physically and emotionally, crediting therapy and mental health work as essential parts of his transformation. As of 2025, Hill's dramatic shift in appearance makes him one of Hollywood's most unrecognizable stars today, but also one of the most authentic. Renee Zellweger. Renee Zellweger was once one of the most instantly recognizable faces in Hollywood. Sunny blonde hair, signature squinty smile, and that unmistakable spark that made her a favorite on red carpets and romantic comedies alike. From her early roles in Dazed and Confused and Empire Records to her breakout performance opposite Tom Cruise in Jerry Maguire, she quickly captured America's heart. But it was Bridget Jones's Diary that sealed her stardom, as she famously gained 30 pounds to fully embody the lovable and flawed Bridget. She gained the weight, lost it, then gained it again for the sequel, all while staying firmly in the public eye. Over the years, she played with different hairstyles, popularized the short bob, and kept her sweet charm intact. But in 2013, fans were stunned when Zellweger stepped onto a red carpet, looking nearly unrecognizable. Her face had changed so drastically, especially around her eyes, that people questioned whether it was even her. Though she's never gone into great detail. Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill's transformation over the years has been nothing short of jaw-dropping, so much so that many fans do a double take when they see him now. Gone is the round-faced, curly-haired comedian from Superbad and Knocked Up. In his place is a completely different figure, leaner, more heavily tattooed, and often sporting bleached blonde hair slicked back with a rugged beard to match. Hill's weight has fluctuated throughout his career, but it was in 2011 that he first started making headlines for slimming down. Then in 2017, after gaining 40 pounds for his role in War Dogs, he recommitted to his health. With the help of a personal trainer, a nutritionist, and even tips from his 21 Jump Street cast Channing Tatum, Hill got back on track, and this time, his changes were more than skin deep. By October 2020, candid photos revealed a version of Hill, Ethan Suplee. Ethan Suplee built a career playing lovable, larger-than-life characters, literally. Fans will always remember him as the soulful, singing football player in Remember the Titans and the dim-witted yet endearing Randy on My Name is Earl. But behind the scenes, Suplee's struggle with weight began long before the cameras ever rolled. By age 10, he weighed over 200 pounds. Concerned, his father placed him on a strict liquid diet which worked until his mother took him off it. And the weight came back with a vengeance. Throughout his adult life, Suplee battled the scale, trying every diet imaginable. Ironically, his weight became part of his identity in Hollywood. It landed him roles, shaped his public image, and boxed him into a very specific type. But not long after My Name is Earl wrapped in 2009, something changed. Suplee quietly began shedding the pounds. When he showed up at the 2010 premiere of Unstoppable, fans were stunned. He'd lost more than 200 pounds and was nearly unrecognizable. Now 48 in 2025, Suplee is a powerhouse in more ways than one. He's built an impressive muscular frame and become an advocate for fitness and mental health. His philosophy is simple: Food is fuel, nothing more. It's a mindset shift that helped him transform his life, and today he inspires thousands with his story of discipline, resilience, and reclaiming. She's never gone into great detail about the procedures. It's widely speculated she underwent Botox, fillers, and possibly more invasive work. The transformation was so dramatic that it sparked a media frenzy. While her talent hasn't faded, Renee Zellweger's face has changed so much, it's no surprise she's now considered one of Hollywood's most unrecognizable stars today. Lara Flynn Boyle. Lara Flynn Boyle was once a fixture in the spotlight, a striking beauty with sharp features, a waif-like figure, and a cool, confident presence that made her a standout in the 1990s. From her eerie, unforgettable role in Twin Peaks to her legal drama success on The Practice, Boyle was one of TV's most recognizable faces. Her high-profile, often tumultuous relationship with Jack Nicholson kept her in the headlines just as much as her work on screen. But after the couple's breakup, Boyle slowly drifted away from the limelight. Her appearances became few and far between, and when she did resurface, fans were stunned by how dramatically her appearance had changed. Gone was the sleek, glamorous actress of the 90s. Instead, she appeared bloated and almost unrecognizable, with a puffy face and casual, almost unkempt clothing that made headlines each time she was spotted. Speculation swirled around possible cosmetic procedures, but Boyle has never addressed the rumors. She avoids social media entirely and has kept a low profile, seemingly unfazed by the public's fixation on her looks. Now in her mid-50s, Boyle appears to have accepted life outside of the spotlight, leaving behind the glamour of Hollywood for a quieter, if less polished, chapter that has made her one of the most unrecognizable stars of her era. Kathleen Turner. Kathleen Turner once commanded the screen with a presence that was impossible to ignore. With her unmistakable husky voice and smoldering allure, she lit up the 1980s in hits like Body Heat, Romancing the Stone, and The War of the Roses. For a time, she was one of the most sought-after actresses in Hollywood. But as the 90s began, her red-hot career took an unexpected turn, and so did her appearance. In 1992, Turner received a devastating diagnosis: rheumatoid arthritis. The chronic condition not only left her in constant pain, but the medications needed to control it caused severe bloating and rapid weight gain. Her body changed dramatically. At one point, doctors even warned she might lose the ability to walk. The media was unkind, with tabloids cruelly speculating about alcoholism, a rumor Turner later confirmed had some truth during her darkest moments of pain and isolation. Despite the pressure to fix her appearance, Turner refused to play the Hollywood game. She never opted for Botox, facelifts, or starvation diets. She chose to age naturally, honestly, and unapologetically. Now in her early 70s, she's nearly unrecognizable from her bombshell days, but to her, that's a relief. No longer confined to glamorous leading roles, Turner has embraced a new chapter, one where she gets to play complex, meaningful characters without worrying about fitting into anyone else's standards of beauty. Billy Gardell. Billy Gardell, once the lovable big guy in Mike and Molly and now the heartwarming lead in Bob Hart's Abishola, looks almost nothing like the actor fans first met on screen. At his heaviest, Gardell tipped the scales at nearly 400 pounds, a weight that not only shaped his career, but also put his health at serious risk. These days he hovers around 205 to 210 pounds, and the transformation is so striking many barely recognize him. His road to better health wasn't instant. Gardell admitted he backed out of gastric bypass surgery twice before finally going through with it 2 years ago. Along the way, he also began using Ozempic, a controversial medication used to manage weight and type 2 diabetes. In fact, he was featured in ads for the drug back in 2021. But the results speak for themselves. His resting heart rate dropped from a dangerous 113 to a healthy 68, and perhaps most impressively, his type 2 diabetes is now completely gone. Behind the transformation was a powerful motivator, his son William. Gardell has been open about wanting to be around longer for his family. And now, with a new body and a new lease on life, he's doing just that. Still, for fans used to seeing him as the hefty, affable Mike Biggs, the new version of Billy Gardell is almost unrecognizable, but undeniably inspiring. Amanda Bynes was once one of the brightest young stars in Hollywood. She first won hearts as a hilarious standout on Nickelodeon's All That, quickly landing her own sketch show and making a smooth transition to teen movie stardom with hits like Big Fat Liar, She's the Man, and Easy A. With her sharp comedic timing and natural charm, Bynes was poised for a long and successful career. But behind the scenes, everything began to unravel. In a shocking move, she announced her retirement from acting in her early 20s. What followed was a highly publicized spiral filled with erratic behavior, legal troubles, and bizarre public statements, including a claim that she planned to sue the NYPD and strange courtroom appearances wearing platinum wigs. It became clear that Bynes was struggling deeply with her mental health. After seeking treatment and spending time out of the spotlight, she appeared to be turning things around, enrolling in fashion school and focusing on her recovery. But her return to public life came with a striking new look that left fans stunned. Her once polished image was replaced with dyed hair, a noticeable weight gain, a septum piercing, and even a heart tattoo inked on her face. Now in her late 30s, Amanda Bynes is nearly unrecognizable from the child star audiences once adored. Her story is a sobering reminder of how fame at a young age can take a serious toll, and how personal transformation isn't always glamorous. Edward Furlong. Edward Furlong rose to instant fame in 1991 as the rebellious young John Connor in Terminator 2: Judgment Day, a role that made him a household name almost overnight. With his striking presence and raw talent, he quickly followed up with powerful performances alongside major stars: Jeff Bridges in American Heart, Kathy Bates in A Home of Our Own, and Edward Norton in the gritty American History X. For a while, it looked like Furlong was on the path to becoming one of Hollywood's greats. But behind the scenes, things were unraveling fast. As his fame faded, Furlong became entangled in a string of arrests, court battles, and a long, painful battle with substance abuse. He spiraled into heroin and meth addiction, habits that not only derailed his career but left lasting physical damage. His teeth were so badly destroyed by the drugs that he had to have them replaced with dentures. These days, the once promising star is almost unrecognizable. A bloated face, disheveled appearance, and a haunting distance from his former self have left fans stunned. While he's spoken publicly about wanting to turn his life around, the shadow of addiction and the years it stole remain etched into his appearance. Edward Furlong's transformation is one of the most tragic and shocking in Hollywood, proof that early fame can sometimes come with devastating consequences. Daryl Hannah, Bruce Jenner. In 1976, Bruce Jenner stood atop the world as an American hero, an Olympic gold medalist and symbol of peak athleticism. With his chiseled looks and championship charm, he quickly became a media favorite, appearing on magazine covers, television ads, and the iconic Wheaties box. But in the years that followed, his appearance began to change in ways that left the public curious and eventually stunned. By 1984, Jenner underwent what his future stepdaughter, Kim Kardashian, would later call a regrettable nose job and facelift. While married to Kris Jenner, he mostly maintained the same outward image, though occasional changes, like growing his hair longer, drew renewed scrutiny toward his evolving facial features. Before the turn of the millennium, Bruce admitted to having undergone at least 6 cosmetic procedures, sparking speculation long before any public announcement was made. Then in 2015, during a powerful interview with Diane Sawyer, Bruce Jenner finally shared what many had long suspected: he was transgender. The long-anticipated transformation reached a historic moment just months later, when the world was formally introduced to Caitlyn Jenner on the cover of Vanity Fair. The once celebrated Olympian had now become one of the most recognizable and unrecognizable figures in modern pop culture, not just for her physical transformation, but for her courage in publicly redefining herself on her own terms. Amanda Bynes, Madonna. Madonna stunned the world when she stepped onto the stage at the Grammy Awards, marking her first major public appearance of the year. But instead of applause, the pop icon, now in her mid-60s, sparked a firestorm of confusion and speculation. Fans were left speechless, many barely recognizing the woman once known as the ultimate trendsetter. The face that helped define an era of music and fashion now looked dramatically different, triggering widespread curiosity about what might be behind her shocking transformation. Industry insiders believe the Material Girl has gone to great lengths to preserve her youth. Whispers of extensive plastic surgery have swirled for years, but this latest appearance seemed to confirm the rumors. Experts speculate that Madonna has undergone a full facelift, multiple rounds of Botox, dermal fillers, and even a possible nose job. Her face appeared noticeably swollen, especially her cheeks, which some say have become the focus of her obsession with holding on to her younger self. A source close to the singer revealed that Madonna sometimes refers to herself in the third person, fixated on the idea of young Madonna. It's a heartbreaking twist for a woman long admired for her fierce independence and health-conscious lifestyle. Behind the bold makeup and reinvention, it seems Madonna may be fighting a private battle against time, one that's left her nearly unrecognizable to even her most devoted fans. Madonna's transformation has sparked endless debate. Some say she's empowering, others say she's gone too far. On a scale from 1 to 5, how do you feel about her new look? 1 inch = not a fan, 5 inches =. Totally support her choices. Drop your number in the comments below. Daryl Hannah was once one of the most radiant and recognizable faces in Hollywood. In the 1980s, her ethereal beauty and standout performances turned her into a bona fide star. From her iconic role as the enchanting mermaid Madison in Splash opposite Tom Hanks, to her unforgettable turns in Blade Runner, Roxanne, and Steel Magnolias, Hannah seemed to effortlessly define a generation of classic cinema. But fast forward to today, and even her most devoted fans might struggle to recognize her. In recent years, Hannah's appearance has changed so drastically that many were left wondering what happened to the actress they remembered so clearly. While her look has sparked widespread speculation, Hannah has denied ever going under the knife for cosmetic reasons. "I'm too much of a coward to go under a surgeon's knife for something that wasn't life-saving," she told the Daily Mail back in 2010. Still, Hollywood being Hollywood, the rumors never stopped. She revealed that after one unflattering photo hit the press, she even lost work because casting directors assumed she had cosmetic procedures done. Experts like Dr. Richard Fleming and Dr. Adam Schaffner weighed in, claiming that Hannah's fuller facial features didn't appear natural and may be the result of filler injections. Others pointed to subtle changes in her nose, possibly hinting at a rhinoplasty, while the actress herself has never confirmed any procedures. Her transformation has kept people talking and has made her one of the most unrecognizable stars from the golden era of 80s Hollywood. These stories show us how easily fame and success can slip away, especially when life throws unexpected challenges our way. Whether it's addiction, mental health struggles, or poor choices, it's a reminder that no one is immune. But the true power lies in the ability to rise again, just like some of these stars did. So let their journeys inspire you to never give up, no matter what life throws at you. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more real-life stories like these. Want to know what happened to more celebrities who faced similar struggles? Check out our previous videos on the end screen. Stay tuned to Iconic Inside, and remember, your story isn't over yet.